Howdy. Thanks for joining me out here in the garden for this talk. Kind of a rare day in the winter when the snow is falling and then it's like in the 40s and gonna be in the 50s. So everything's melting away. So there's like a mist and a fog kind of lifting up from the snow, being driven up into the sky. It's very pretty right now. Gave me an opportunity to come outside and shovel some snow around that I had frozen in place, do some things that I just couldn't get to before the snow hit. So I was looking at the garden like, hey, I could make a video today. It's not frozen and freezing out. So I'm calling this one The Empire of the Mind. It's a concept I got from a video game. I'd never heard the Empire of the Mind. We all know about the Empire, and you're taught about the Roman Empire and how it kind of ruled the world, blah blah blah. It's kind of familiar to the American Empire that just goes around ruling the world with money and warfare. But instead of an empire being a physical thing, I think the empire of the mind is actually how people are ruled and subdued. You couldn't physically control everybody. It's just not possible. They have to be willing servants of the empire. But it's an empire of the mind that's been created in this realm, in this time. And I want to go into a deep dive into conspiracy, right? People just want to make fun of it and be stupid, right? And say there's no such thing as tricksters tricking people and ruling over them, and that's all I see. It's like when I look around the world and I try to gather what's happening, it's just people are tricked beyond belief. They're just tricked. They raise their kids in tricks, and then their kids raise their kids in more trickery, and they're all way off, not even close to solid ground and what the real reality is here. So I gotta have this talk. I've been shy about it. I've been putting it off because it's just, to me, it's so true, but I don't hear anybody talk about it. And it just seems like if you utter these words, they'll just call you crazy and make fun of you. And it's like, I'm kind of like David Icke at this point. Like I've broken through all the ridicule you could ever push my way. And you just start to learn about the people that ridicule others. They're just stuck in their beliefs and in their fears. And then they go to the group and they make fun of the person that thinks of the new thing or the creator that created the new thing. They go back to their group and oh, look at him, he's different. I want to be different. It's like, it's just too funny to realize the group mentality and how it keeps people from expressing themselves. And it even hits me because I just... I don't want to separate too much from people and be too outside of reality for people, but what the heck, I got to keep moving on. So the empire of the mind, it's just basically, instead of being physically ruled, you are mentally ruled over. And I want to get deep into the geopolitical situation, that we live under. And I've done the research, I've looked into it. Like, you realize the USSR, right? Russia now, it used to be the USSR, it was conquered in the 80s. You got to realize that China was conquered in the early 1900s. Like, the money system, the British Empire, these secret societies, they've gone around and kind of infiltrated every major country and have made it look like they're all independent and that they're all warring against each other. So my theory, which is backed by so much evidence, they fake space together, they faked the you-know-whats together. Why do all the countries do these things that just don't add up? And then they have all like the highest technology, so like anybody could kind of take anybody over at any point. So like none of it makes any sense to me that there's actually separate countries fighting with each other. So my theory is all of these major countries that are the superpowers, right? United States, Britain, the West, and then Russia, China. They're owned by a small group outside of these countries that uses them as chess pieces on a grand chessboard. Makes me think of that book, The Grand Chessboard, right, by Brzezinski Brzezinski or whatever, that stupid guy. But when you really study the world and the people and the history, my God, the history is so fake. Go even studying World War II. The entire history has been scrubbed from World War II and rewrote to have a whole different narrative. You got to realize the bad guys won, and the bad guys keep winning, and the bad guys keep reinforcing their lies and their deceits, their deception over and over and over in each generation. There are plenty of people that come to these conclusions and find out, but they find a way to distract people from the true story of what's going on here and blast them with a whole new reality constantly. And it's why they want to take people into smart cities and have them sitting isolated in their houses looking at screens. The only source of information is the screen. They can't go talk to anybody. Right? It's just so simple. They have a centralized computer. They blast their messages out. They rewrite history. They rewrite what happened last year. They rewrite what happened 5 years ago. They're really good at it because they have the loudest microphone ever with the television and the internet. So they've been able to rewrite all of history, in my opinion, and cover up a united humanity that had high technology, had free energy, had everything. Something happened. It all got wiped away. And now we're here. And it's just like 1984. It's exactly like A Brave New World in 1984. We're beyond those books. Those books already happened. Like, the people were already cloned. You can get into cloning and homunculus and what's gone on and these empty cities in the past and the orphan trains. And I mean, hey, the evidence is there for cloning. Okay, I don't know, you can just la-da-da, this doesn't exist. We're living in a dream realm of the mind, like everything exists. It just has to be built. And it's been built, and it's all being used right now in your face. And it's brilliant for these people that are controlling the message, the narrative, to act like we're on the cusp of high technology all the time. We're almost there. We've got AI now. We've got something new that's going to save you, right? When we had free energy hundreds of years ago, and we were free, and we had airships. We floated around the sky on free energy. Now you're restricted. You have passports. You have to pay somebody to fly and travel. To me, if you don't believe in free energy, what are you breathing? How are you alive? What is the sunlight giving you every day? This talk gets me fired up. It's just too powerful. People can't handle it. They can't handle that every country that is at war right now, they're all just working together to enslave their people. Okay? They add in, of course, Russia is being propped up as the good guy. Putin recently had a little, he says speeches and they're always brilliant, and all the American patriots are like, man, I wish I had a president like Putin, right? Putin was like, the West, they don't believe in God. So it's just now Russia's becoming Christian and supposedly the righteous, people, and they're just framing America as this degenerate, like communist psycho society that's totalitarian and that just uses all their allies for power gains and for more money. It's just silly to just see the story is just rote for you. If you just imagine, it's just a giant never-ending movie, a never-ending story, and they can cause wars here to take control of that and stop people from thinking that by just shutting the power off there. Or, it's like a small group has all these levers, and the people think that they're like a part of a country and a part of a party and a part of like the good guys or something, when all the countries are bad, all the governments are bad, all the people working for the governments are bad. It's very simple. It's extremely simple. And you don't even have to go to that conspiracy that all the countries are working together, right? That's just the way I see it. It's clear as day if you study it. And it's how if you really want to rule over people, my God, you control every single side of it. And then it's just, they pick a side and then they're done. That's all you got to do is corner people into all these little sides, all these little positions. And then if they believe what they were taught as a child, right, what they were poisoned and cursed with as a kid, if they don't shake out of that, they just become a robot, an automaton for the government that they're under, thinking they're part of something when they're just being played like a slave. But see, it's mind slavery that is the thing going on right now. There's plenty of physical slaves, but nothing like the mind slavery. It's just unbelievable. It's why this is an empire of the mind, to where what I'm talking about, people will hate, people will just make fun of me, people will not even investigate that the country that they're living in is just a front, is just a fake operation to control them. And it coincides with every other country and all the governments and all the wars that go on. In order to have this realization about all the countries being in on it together, they fake space together, they fake warfare together, they fake health crises together. I guess that's what you could call it without getting banned. You got to understand what is right and wrong, okay? I think that most people don't even understand right and wrong, okay? We don't teach kids what's right and wrong. As people grow up, which they just get bigger, you could say, I don't know if they're actually growing up internally or mentally, but as they get bigger and older, they don't seem to learn right and wrong. It seems like it's easier to convince yourself in the mind that the wrong thing is the good thing, okay? Taxes are good. Everybody needs to be stolen from to live in a free world. That'll really set you off on, like, if you have any morality, any sense of right and wrong, the whole tax situation is obvious. I don't know what to say. Like, everybody needs to be stolen from? Sounds like a criminal situation, right? But it goes back to just knowing right and wrong, and to stop being so arrogant and prideful and saying that my parents are right, the traditions were right, what I was taught was right, the system is right, okay? That's really all that people are living through, is a screwed up system that changes its ideas on morality constantly based on how we can make the most money and profit, right? And then you just see the people imitate it. Like, they'll do anything for money. So I just don't expect a lot of people to see it, to see clearly what's going on in this realm. And if you want to, you need to get better at knowing what's right and what's wrong and living that out. Okay? Not just knowing it or thinking about it, and you got to live it if you actually want to be real, I'd say, and live, you know. Doing the right thing, it's not easy, but it's necessary for growth, and it's something only your heart can tell you. Okay, somebody outside of you cannot tell you what's right and wrong. You need to have discernment and decide and know this path I'm taking will lead to more love. This other path is like, duh. I don't go there because it leads to more division and hurtfulness and suffering for everyone. If I choose to be a part of my country and fight with all the other countries, it's just a big setup. So I just had to say it, had to throw it out there. Take it for what it is. All right, enjoy yourselves. Love you.